Hello and welcome to today's statewide webcast on the economic and cultural power of tourism. I'm Kim Holden, and I'm thrilled to be moderating this important discussion broadcast across Louisiana through The Advocate, the Times-Picayune, and NOLA.com. Today's conversation highlights three unique and vibrant parts of our state. New Orleans, an iconic city that was built to host; Jefferson Parish, a dynamic blend of culture and commerce; and Louisiana's Cajun Bayou, a place where authenticity meets adventure. Together, they show how tourism drives economic growth, preserves culture, creates opportunity, and invites the world to experience the true spirit of Louisiana. So as we kick off National Travel and Tourism Week, we are joined by three outstanding leaders whose organizations are shaping the future of tourism across our region. Let me introduce our panelists to you. First, we have Kelly Schulz, who serves as the Senior Vice President of Communications and Public Relations at New Orleans & Company. She's helped New Orleans tell its story to the world, and she's done an amazing job emphasizing the city's resilience, creativity, and reputation as a world-class destination. And next we have Violet Peters. She is the president and CEO of Visit Jefferson Convention and Visitors Bureau. She leads initiatives to promote Jefferson Parish as a vibrant, welcoming destination for visitors from around the world as well. And then we have Cody Gray, who is the president and CEO of Louisiana's Cajun Bayou Tourism. He works to showcase the authentic Cajun culture, the scenic beauty, and the unique experiences that make the Bayou a must-visit part of Louisiana. I am so excited to hear their insights and perspectives on how tourism is really powering progress across Louisiana. So let's get started. Y'all ready?
Ready.
All right.
Ready.
We're going to talk first about economic impact and revenue. And this question is for all of our panelists today. What is one metric or trend that best illustrates how tourism is driving your local economy today? And Kelly, we'll start with you.
Well, this week, National Travel and Tourism Week celebrates a nationwide industry that's worth $2.9 trillion and creates 15 million American jobs. And here in Louisiana, that's billions of dollars of economic impact and almost 100,000 people just in the New Orleans area who make their living in this industry. So we can look at lots of different success measures. We can look at economic impact. We can look at the number of visitors. We can look at revenue and tax revenue, that sort of thing. But ultimately, we believe that everything that makes this a great place to live and work also makes it a good place to visit. So when you think of it from that standpoint, it's not just about the visitors, it's about all of us who choose to live and work here. And tourism is making all of that better.
And those numbers are just mind-boggling. Yeah. I mean, we've heard them for years and years, but still to this day, you hear those numbers in billions, and it's really amazing. Violet, what about Jefferson Parish?
Well, a lot of people don't realize that, in Jefferson, tourism is a $2 billion industry. That's what the visitor spend is in Jefferson Parish. And that's really, one of the best metrics to show what tourism means to the Jefferson Parish economy. So not only does it mean the jobs and everything that Kelly just mentioned, but that $2 billion investment from the visitor into our economy is so valuable, and it makes tourism a vital industry for Jefferson.
And what about the Bayou region?
Well, of course. I mean, I'm going to piggyback off of what you said earlier. It all begins with a visit, right?
Yes.
So there is that wheel where, if you build a place where people want to visit, you build a place where people want to live, want to work, and want to invest. And so tourism is one of the purest forms of economic development. And is one of the leading industries in Lafourche Parish. I mean, it saves households every year $300 in taxes. That's each household. And I know as we are, looking around the country right now of how we are all, saving and having to, maybe readjust our finances, those savings are hugely impactful to all of our residents. So visitation actually, creates really a sustainable economic driver in the parish, and it really shows just how important this is. I mean, the jobs that it supports, over 1,200 jobs, our restaurants, our hoteliers, those that are running our swamp tours, all depend upon visitation. And if that goes away, that livelihood is gone too. So it really is a domino effect between tourism and all of the other industries in Louisiana and in our regions.
Okay. And Violet, how is Jefferson Parish working to ensure that some of these economic benefits of tourism actually reach smaller businesses in some of those underserved areas?
Well, the majority of the promotions that we do consist of small businesses. So you've got our swamp tours, you've got our charter boat fishing captains, what we promote heavily through Fish Jefferson. And many of our restaurants are small businesses, and they really provide such an authentic visitor experience with our Louisiana cuisine. So it really hits many small businesses.
Okay. And Kelly, we have peaks. We have busy travel seasons. We have not so busy travel seasons. What does New Orleans do to really try to sustain economic growth beyond the peaks?
Yeah, well, a lot of what we do is driven by data. So we can look at occupancy and what it's looking like in the next couple of months. And then we base strategies on that data. And we look at where do our members need the most help in driving business. And then we focus on that. So we're very much about looking at the numbers, projecting what can happen. We all know that summer is a traditionally slower time. Right. But then we've also done things like working with Travel and Leisure magazine, who named New Orleans one of the top places to visit in August.
So in August, the hottest time of the year, right?
Exactly. So we were really proud to work with that reporter and be able to tell that story. So by looking at the data and trying to be innovative and through PR and sales and marketing, we just launched a new ad campaign. All of that works together to really drive those need periods and bring jobs and business to all of our members in our community.
All right. And Cody, how is Louisiana's Cajun Bayou leveraging its unique cultural and natural assets to drive tourism revenue?
Sure. So, and all of our messaging and the way that we describe our area is the unspoiled beauty of the Bayou. And it's one of the few places that you can get out, still in the state that still has a lot of the original ancestry and heritage from the Acadians who came over, but also of the Creole, of the African American, the German, the Italian, all live there. And so ways that we, often say that is the best way to experience our parish and experience Bayou Lafourche is through the people. It's through connecting with the people that have built their lives there generations after generations after generations, and getting out on the bayou, getting out and seeing our wildlife, getting out and experiencing these cultural assets that you just can't find anywhere else in the world. And so it's really a way to connect. I know after COVID-19, authentic and connecting and meaningful experiences is what travelers are looking for now. And so we're really able to capitalize on that and create a place where people can come and really connect with the culture and with the people.
Okay. And how are your different organizations working to expand and strengthen the tourism workforce? Because we need workers, right?
Absolutely.
In a changing economy. Let's start with you, Violet.
Absolutely. Well, we provide ongoing resources to all of our partners. We provide training and data analytics, networking opportunities for them to collaborate and work together. All of that is to inform them of things that they need to know to make their business stronger, to help their workforce be stronger, and also really to help them gain in knowledge on Jefferson Parish as a visitor destination.
One of the things that we've done at New Orleans & Company are a series of job fest or job fairs. We call them Job Fest. And in fact, next month, we're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary of Job Fest. And these are really rewarding. There are many, many employers there, and people come in and they are hired on the spot. People are ready to hire, and these are all different level jobs. Many people think of hospitality workers as being maybe frontline, a bellman or a bartender or something like that. Those jobs are certainly available, but there are also many, many career paths and options. So it's really nice to see these job fests where people are walking out with really meaningful opportunities to work and build a career.
Okay. And Cody, how are you expanding the job workforce, the tourism workforce?
Absolutely. So we're very fortunate to have what we lovingly call the Harvard on the Bayou, which is Nicholls State University in Thibodaux. We also have Fletcher Technical College as well. And those two institutions are doing incredible work. We love partnering with them. We love working with them and bringing in, they just, honestly, they just started building, or actually they're almost finished with construction, of the Coastal Center at Nicholls State University, which is going to bring in tons of scientists and researchers in to look at our coast and to look at coastal preservation, which is a huge issue in our area. And so really working with them to develop these workforces, that are going back into our communities. I know Fletcher is recruiting and turning out linemen and welders and all of these very needed positions in our areas, not just gas and oil, but energy overall, and also research and really looking further into how we are protecting and preserving our area for these future generations and future visitors to come in and look at. And so those are a few of the ways that we're able to work with our local organizations. We've also been able to open up our visitor center to students in the area who have been interested in a career in tourism and hospitality to come and shadow for a day. So we've been able to really work with local students in that way in the school system to be able to expose them to the tourism and hospitality sector.
And that's a perfect segue to Violet's next question about how do you create entry-level tourism jobs that lead to long-term careers. What efforts are being made in Jefferson Parish to do that?
Well, we've done successful workshops in the past where we have our, guest-facing employees be able to really learn how to hone in their skills and their customer service skills. But also all of our meetings are open all of the every level of employee. So that is something that we do on a regular basis. But in addition, we're looking at doing a video series that the hospitality community can use in their onboarding process when they hire someone, because a lot of people, when they come into our industry, they don't realize how big tourism is in Jefferson Parish. So that education is a really key component from our perspective. And we also have our hotel partners who, many of them have retention programs and advancement programs where they look to advance from within their organization. So there's a lot of things happening on numerous levels.
Okay, Kelly, how's New Orleans and Company supporting workforce training and development for a more resilient hospitality sector?
Well, the word resilient is interesting. We kind of, as locals sometimes say, we're sick of having to be resilient over things, but we are. And, again, through our job fairs, and we have a workforce training program that we do through our membership and external affairs department, working with students and bringing in interns and really just trying to make the point that this is a meaningful, lifelong career. Many people don't realize that you can have many different professions and work in tourism. So you may be a graphic designer or an accountant or a security professional, and all of those jobs are needed to have a thriving tourism industry. So part of it is connecting people to jobs and opportunity, but also is its awareness and helping understand the power of this industry and the diversity and the depth of this industry.
Okay, and so many opportunities,
yes,
as you mentioned. And Cody, is there anything special that Louisiana's Cajun Bayou Tourism is doing to attract and retain that talent? I know you said the students,
Sure.
But besides that.
Sure. So, what you just said is exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's incredible to see how versatile that the tourism industry really is. And I know that we've had a lot, just students and even visitors as well, that have asked, even people that we've interviewed for open positions that we've had that didn't realize that there could be a career in tourism until they came and interviewed, or until they came and shadowed us and said, oh my gosh, this is what you do on a daily basis. Like, this is incredible. Like, the people you get to work with and the experiences and working, in your community, and the work that we do in tourism makes a difference. It makes a difference in the lives of the residents. It makes a difference in the lives of those small business owners and those swamp tour operators and those charter boat captains. It makes a difference. And then working with, institutions like our Lafourche Parish government and economic development. Having a great working relationship with them makes all of the difference. And being able to work with them whenever they are bringing in new businesses and new jobs to our area, being able to be there and, let them know what families can do in our area, what the quality of life is like in our area. And so I think really in promoting what tourism is and the career opportunities that we have in this industry, I believe it's really opening a lot of eyes to the fact that it's not just marketing, it's not just sales. There's accounting, there's graphic design, there's government relations, there's all types of aspects to the tourism industry.
Okay. All right, let's take it global for a minute. Let's go, Violet. This is a question for you. Have you seen the tourism in Jefferson Parish serve as almost a gateway of sorts for attracting new investors or even international collaborations?
Well, we have, as everyone knows, our, Louisiana food, our authentic cuisine and seafood is a huge visitor draw. And so as the home of the original charbroiled oyster, as well as the subsequent Louisiana Oyster Trail, we were thrilled to learn that Grand Isle is the birthplace of the off-bottom oyster farming. So that process is now being used internationally. And JEDCO just released the branding for the ones that are being farmed in Grand Isles as Grand Isle jewels. So we're really excited about that. And we know, the tourism industry supports the oyster farming. But that industry is significant along the coast of Louisiana, employing nearly 5,000 jobs just in the oyster industry. So that to me, with that new technology or new way of doing things, is really bringing more Louisiana culture to the world.
So we could see char-grilled oysters all over the world. Yes. Now you made me hungry. Yeah. All right, this next question has to do with cultural exchange and preservation, and I'll ask all of you to chime in on this. How do you ensure visitors experience authentic local culture while also supporting cultural preservation? Cody, let's start with you.
Sure. So, culture, of course, Cajun culture is one of our leading draws. It's one of our leading attractors of people coming to our parish. And so we're very fortunate to have institutions like the Jean Lafitte Wetlands Acadian Cultural Center, places like the E.D. White Historic Site, who are actively working to preserve that culture, and we actively support them in that. Our language is incredibly important. That's something I know that has been an initiative statewide to really protect and preserve Cajun French and to hear it spoken in these local businesses. And that's something we get asked a lot by visitors. But really keeping that alive, breathing that life into it. Our music is another big draw to our area. And people want to be able to go to a restaurant or go to a place and experience the music and be able to dance or learn, how do you do these dances? Even our festivals and events, it's one of the greatest ways. You have food, you have music, and you have dancing all in one place. Mm-hmm. And so it's been really great to be able to work on these initiatives and really enhance all of our events, enhance our restaurants, enhance those types of cultural activities that people can come and connect with the locals and take that back with them. Because we often say that the best souvenir that a visitor can take back is a memory.
Did I hear you were going to dance for us?
Maybe later.
All right, Kelly, what about New Orleans and Company and really just ensuring visitors experience that local culture while still having that cultural preservation?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we like to do is really explain to our visitors about why we do things the way we do them. So, for instance, we have a group of customers in town now, and instead of just having them, see the Mardi Gras Indians, we really try and explain what does that mean and how is it significant to our culture. We talk about musicians and the importance of musicians passing on their legacy to future generations and preserving that culture. So, many people have an image of New Orleans as a party town or Mardi Gras beads, but we really work hard to explain the culture and why it is so sacred and why passing those traditions on from one generation to the next is so important. And the visitors are fascinated by that. And I think that's part of what is, their draw to our unique culture in New Orleans and around the state.
And Violet?
Yeah, I agree that sharing our culture really is part of its preservation, right? So visitors really just want to live like a local for a day, even if it's just that one day. They probably want to live like a local for more than one day. But the festivals and the rich, diverse culture that we have is really showcased through a lot of our festivals. And so one of the things that we do is we get those festival organizers together. We provide resources for them. We help them look at collaboration and making them stronger. Really, just highlights all of that culture and the diversity. And going back to Cody's point, they get to take all of that home with them, and they're sure to come back.
And a follow-up question for you, Violet, is, you hear New Orleans, but how does Jefferson Parish set itself apart from New Orleans when it comes to cultural identity? Because you still need to complement regional tourism.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, we love being next door to New Orleans, but we've always believed that we're a complement to New Orleans, but offering a very different destination. So the much of the culture is shared with New Orleans, but what really sets us apart is our outdoor culture and those things that they can do in our swamp tours and in our nature trails and our authentic bayous and the charter fishing captains. All of those things really set us apart from the New Orleans experience. So in my opinion, a visitor can come and have the best of both worlds, quite frankly. You'd never know. There's a place in Jean Lafitte. There's a 1 mile boardwalk over the swamp, and you'd never know if in the middle of that boardwalk that you're about 15 minutes from the French Quarter, and it's just a whole nother world away. It's really tremendous opportunity for the visitors to have unique experiences all in one vacation.
Okay, that's a very good answer. And Kelly, what role does cultural tourism play in preserving New Orleans' legacy while still educating first-time visitors?
Well, again, so many first-time visitors come with a certain, I think, impression in mind, and we want to give them different narratives, different stories. For instance, when we tell people that New Orleans has a NASA facility, they think, what? That's not something that we necessarily related to New Orleans, but that sort of thing is important for when we're going after business groups, conventions, and meetings, really telling different stories about our culture and the diversity of our culture and something that people may not be aware of. We also know that first-time visitors, I know a lot of people who have come to New Orleans as a visitor for Mardi Gras or for a convention or something like that, and then they fall in love with the city. They end up maybe moving here. They may buy a second home here. That first-time visitor experience is really important and leaves a lasting impression that we would love for them to end up residents of the city.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that over the years. Oh, I came to New Orleans to visit and I just fell in love with the place.
Yeah, and now they live here. Yeah.
I love that. Cody, how do you highlight the Cajun culture's traditions and heritage in ways that are meaningful for both visitors and local residents? Got to remember the residents.
Absolutely right. And our residents are very, very proud of the bayou that they've settled on and very proud of our parish. One of our greatest accomplishments has been over the last 3 years now, believe it or not. We started a project called Acadian to Cajun, and we were able to bridge a lot of the connections between the Acadian regions of Nova Scotia and our Acadian ancestry in Lafourche Parish. And so our Tourist Commission really led that effort from our local delegation. We participated in the Congrès Mondial Acadien, which is the World Acadian Congress. It happens every 5 years. It's the world's largest gathering of Acadians, and this year it was held in 24 it was held in Nova Scotia. So we were able to really take Lafourche Parish to Nova Scotia over these past few years to really educate, our long-lost cousins there about our area. And so as a result of that, we've seen a lot of visitation from Nova Scotia, but we've also seen a huge resurgence in reconnecting those roots with our local residents and them getting excited and seeing this visitation and seeing the promotion of the heritage and seeing the history and seeing everybody really getting involved and supporting that has been really, really great. It's been a really cool experience to see that really all come together, just to really emphasize, the very unique culture we have, because it cannot be found anywhere else in the world.
That's exciting, but say that again.
The Congrès Mondial Acadien.
I don't know if I could repeat that. Very good. All right. How is tourism helping drive development of infrastructure and community assets in your region? Let's begin with Violet.
Well, in Jefferson Parish, we're so blessed to have our elected officials that really value tourism. They really understand what tourism brings to the economy, from our parish president, all of our council members, our state legislators. They all work together and they prioritize tourism projects really to help benefit the businesses, but also, as we've all been talking about, our community and our residents that benefit from those tourism businesses because of the value that they get. A lot of the taxes support the infrastructure that all of our residents enjoy. So the visitor that's coming, we really want our residents to understand they're really helping to lift the full burden of the infrastructure they enjoy every day off of their shoulders and putting it on the visitor as well.
And Kelly, infrastructure is such a big deal in New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, I think a great example is what you saw with the Super Bowl. When we hosted Super Bowl 59, our 11th time hosting a Super Bowl, you saw so many infrastructure projects in anticipation for the game, and that was a wonderful thing for the week of activities of Super Bowl. But as residents, we get to enjoy those upgrades and benefits for many years to come. So we have to make sure that we're working in a way that we're not only doing that for big events, but that we're constantly improving, not only for the visitors, but for those of us who live and work here.
What about the Bayou area, Cody? How is tourism helping to drive development of infrastructure there and community assets?
Sure. So, those community assets that we tout quite a bit is, of course, our waterways. Sportsman's Paradise. I know that you know that all as well as we do. And that's what people are wanting to get out, is really get on those waterways, connect with our local wildlife, whether that's fishing, swamp tours, paddling. So really working with agencies such as Friends of Bayou Lafourche, the Bayou Lafourche Freshwater District, Lafourche Parish government, on ways to reopen access to the bayou, to be able to have uninhibited access to the bayou, to be able to have fishing piers and be able to have those boat launches and promote those for, not only does the visitor use those, but they're also there for the resident as well. I know places like, Port Fourchon are doing incredible projects down there, and we've been able to support them, through grant programs from our office to really help to put in viewfinders and platforms where people can look at the offshore rigs, where people can go out and look at the local wildlife. They've even developed a coastal paddling trail right there in Port Fourchon. Mm-hmm. So it's incredible to see these these natural assets that are coming back to our area for people to really get out and connect one-on-one with our nature. Because we often say we're two destinations in one parish. When you're starting to go down the bayou, you see more of those shrimping communities. You see more of the coastline. You see more of the marsh. And as you go up the bayou, you're seeing more of the agriculture. You're seeing more of the industry and things of that nature. So it's really, it's a collaboration between, tourism and economic development and parish government and our city of Thibodaux, Golden Meadow, Lockport, really working together with, their town councils, their mayors, and all of our elected officials, from our state representatives to our congressional delegation, to really highlight and show the importance of these natural assets that we have in our area.
Besides the Port Fourchon, the platforms, the trails, anything else that is recent or upcoming that really is going to help Louisiana's Cajun Bayou attract more visitors?
Sure. So, aside from our natural resources, I'm going to tout the port again because they do such an incredible job of working to be a great steward of the coastline that they're on. They're one of the major contributors, of gas and oil in the entire country. And so GDP depends on them. And so, but they're also community partners. They're also partners of our region, of our parish, and they care about the place that they're at. And they care about reinvesting into our coastline, reinvesting into the resident, reinvesting into the visitor. So a lot of people think of Port Fourchon, they don't think of visitors, right? But they certainly have tourism assets that we have been able to work with them on to develop there. Some other areas, of course, is our culinary culture. Those are huge draws for us. Mm-hmm. We're very fortunate to have the Chef John Folse Culinary Institute at Nichols, the only 4-year culinary degree in the state. So we are able to produce the next generation of chefs that are going into restaurants across the world to share our Cajun cuisine and culture with everyone.
All right, Violet, what infrastructure investments have been made recently in Jefferson Parish to enhance the visitor experience?
Well, we have several projects in various stages. The Bucktown Harbor just had a lot of new things put in. The Alario Sports Complex in West Wego is near completion, actually. We also have Parc des Familles has now accessible kayaking. And the newly announced Gator Town in West Wego as well. NOLA Motorsports has just made some enhancements to their venue, as well as Treasure Chest Casino just opened their land-based casino in Lake Town. And on the horizon is an amphitheater in Lake Town on the lake as well. So there's a lot going on. It's really exciting time in Jefferson Parish.
And what about New Orleans? How do you approach, Kelly, sustainable development in the city while also managing increasing tourism demand?
Well, a great example when we think about sustainability is what we do during Mardi Gras called Recycle Dat, a recycling initiative that is, we're a partner along with the city of New Orleans and many local organizations. So many visitors have said, we love Mardi Gras, but you all produce a lot of trash at that event.
Yes, we do.
And so we have worked in an intentional way to recycle glass, beads, aluminum cans. The numbers are staggering, thousands and thousands of pounds of what would have gone to a landfill. If you can imagine everything you see on the street after a parade, beads and cups and all of those things that would normally go to a landfill, we've been able to divert to recycling. That is good for our community. It's good for the environment. And it also makes our visitors appreciate that we are being innovative. We are being sustainable. We're not just doing the same things that we've always done.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about health and wellness and personal enrichment and how we're seeing traveler interest really shift towards that wellness and enrichment and how each of your organizations respond. So Kelly, we don't necessarily think of New Orleans as, health and wellness. We think of it as a party place, but how would you answer that?
Yes, we certainly host a lot of medical conventions and related to health and wellness. But again, we keep talking about changing the narrative. Many people don't think of us as a place where you can be healthy. But one of the things that we focused on, particularly with corporate meetings, letting people know we have an amazing city park here. We have golfing, we have sporting and outdoor activities. There are many things that you can do in New Orleans that are very, focused on well-being. We have some amazing spas around the city and experiences that people can do as part of their corporate meetings, as an example, that celebrate our culture and also provide health and wellness options. So again, a lot of it is just helping educate people on that because they don't know. They think of us as unhealthy food and sugary drinks, but there's a lot more. There's a lot more to it.
Okay, and what about Jefferson Parish? How are you responding to this increased interest in health and wellness?
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that there's a growing traveler segment that's looking for those outdoor experiences or wellness-oriented activities. So those things that we also know is that the visitor wants that immersive cultural experience as well. So a lot of what we promote is our family-oriented attractions. And so the families are able to come in and really enjoy all of our amenities. But we look at work with influencers. One of the ways that we really help get that word out is working with moms who have a platform or a blog and have influencers show visitors how they can come and jump in and really have an adventure in Jefferson Parish.
And have you seen a really big demand for the wellness-focused travel?
We've seen a lot of demand for that outdoor aspect and really getting on our nature trails. And that's why we have kayaking throughout the Jefferson Parish now. There are several kayaking accessible kiosks that people can do. And so those things are growing. So we are definitely seeing that trend.
Okay. Cody, what role does outdoor recreation and culinary tourism play in promoting well-being in Louisiana's Cajun Bayou?
Sure, absolutely. So I know that, a lot of people, when they look at our food, they don't necessarily think of well-being because a lot of it is fried, right? However, we do have a great, diverse culinary scene in Lafourche. And that ranges from up the bayou and down the bayou. And I've said that a couple of times today. That's how we give directions. It's up or down Bayou Lafourche. And so whether you're up or down, culinary plays a vital role in each restaurant and each family and each generation, right? And so we promote that through the Cajun Bayou Food Trail, which our office created back in 2018, which is a wonderful tour where families and kids and grandparents and everybody can get into it and go to these different stops in the parish and can sample different gumbos, can sample different types of fish or different types of etouffees or whatever their delicacy of choice may be. That's been a great way to get people out and moving within the parish. Again, when it comes to outdoor recreation, we're very, very fortunate in the last few years, especially through COVID, to really be able to implement more water access, right? I've spoken about that a lot today, and be able to have places like Go Paddle, which are those paddling kiosks to be able to get out, to create those paddling trails where people can get out and know, okay, this is where I can launch at, this is where I need to go, this are the things that I need to see. Places like the Lockport Elevated Boardwalk, where you can really get out and get in touch with nature. And even at our own visitor center, we have an open space there. We have a walking track where people can get out. You'll see some of the native birds, some of the native wildlife there as well. So really being able to, make it easy for the visitor to have that experience and to have that peace of mind in planning their trip is something that we really put at our forefront of making that a priority.
Seafood is healthy, right?
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is.
Yeah. Where is the visitor center so people know?
Sure, absolutely. So the visitor center is right off of U.S. Highway 90 at the Raceland exit. If you go there right this moment, you will see that there is construction happening. 4 years ago was, of course, Hurricane Ida, which completely destroyed our office and our visitor center. But I'm very happy to report that we are just a month or so away from ending construction on a brand new state-of-the-art visitor center, which of course will help for the well-being of the visitor because it's going to have all types of interactive exhibits and ways for you to really connect with the culture and get inspired to go out and visit these places in our parish.
Okay, more reason to go.
That's right.
Down the bayou.
More reason to come down
or
the bayou.
up the bayou.
That's right.
And Kelly, how does New Orleans incorporate wellness or rejuvenation experiences into the broader tourism picture?
Yeah, again, it's really just helping people understand that those things exist in New Orleans, and they may not realize that those are options for us. But talking about different options at City Park and being able to bike or golf or really put together customized experiences. You said that we are built to host, and one of the things that makes us so built to host is that we're really able to customize, especially for groups. If we know health and wellness is a priority for them, we will put together a customized itinerary, menu, offerings that support all of that. So it's really that, customer service, working with each group individually, which our team does so well. These things don't just come together. It takes a lot of work, a lot of professionals to make those sorts of things happen. And we're very fortunate to be able to do that very well.
Awesome. Okay, so as we kick off National Travel and Tourism Week, just give me your final thoughts. Each of you give me your final thoughts, your message to not only the state, but the world on what this means for Louisiana and for our area. We'll start with you, Cody.
Sure, that's fine. So, I think now it's more important than ever, advocacy at the forefront of why tourism matters in the United States and globally. Tourism is that economic driver. Tourism is that job provider. Tourism is that tax saver. And so I think that, the one message I think everybody really needs to understand, you don't realize how many visitors come through your area every day. We talk with a lot of our residents and they see them every now and then. I think they've really started to pay more attention to them now that visitation has upticked after COVID. But, really highlighting that, you are an ambassador. You are the resident, but you are an ambassador for your area. You're an ambassador for your parish. And so whenever whenever visitors do come in and they're talking with our residents and they're engaging directly with them and they're so excited to tell them everything that, where they grew up and why they're here, that's tourism. That's what matters. Those little experiences, it keeps that story alive. It keeps that area alive. This is the quality of place. This is the market, all the marketing, the sales, and the really great things that we do are all awesome. But it is the resident who is our biggest advocate. It is the resident who supports tourism. It is the resident that I think needs to really be highlighted during National Travel and Tourism Week for all that they do to create the place that we get to call home.
That is such a good point. Yeah. Such a good point, Cody. Violet?
Yeah, I agree. All of that was very well said, Cody. The resident also is not only supports it, but they benefit from tourism because, as you mentioned, how much they save on their state taxes in your area. Right. In my area, it's $1,159 is the latest number that each Jefferson Parish household saves in their state income taxes. So the residents, they are not only great ambassadors, but they I'm sure once they hear that number, they are going to really love tourism. But in addition to that, I think on the flip side, how important it is for us as a nation or as a world that how much we need travel. We really need to be able to get away. We really need to disconnect and unplug and use that time to be able to refresh and enjoy those experiences around the world and just invite everybody around the world to come to our area because it is such an opportunity for them to immerse themselves in the culture and live like a local for a day.
Kelly?
Yeah, I would say that, it is about the people and it is about the unique experiences here. I would say that we want you to come visit us. We want you to come visit us. We know there are so many places in the world that people can choose to go, but in New Orleans and around Louisiana, everyone is welcome. It's important that in these times when things are so competitive, travel can really unite people, create those experiences. It benefits communities, our economy, jobs, quality of life, but it's really about we want you to come and experience this place that is unlike anywhere in the world. And so we ask our visitors to do that, and we work hard every day to make sure that they're continuing to come. It doesn't just happen on its own. It's very much about work and promotion and selling and marketing and advocacy and all of those things that keep this very vital industry moving forward.
All right. A big thank you to our panel today. This has been an awesome discussion on tourism and how it drives the local economy and preserves our culture and just really creates so much opportunity. And there's so much to look forward to as we continue to invite the world, everybody, to come visit us and experience the true spirit of Louisiana. On behalf of The Advocate and NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kim Holden. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.